Hello and welcome to another edition of Razorwire. Today we are going to be coming back with our professionals segment. Could we find any good professionals? No. So I've had to go back and get Iain and Chris back in to discuss important things from around the InfoSec sector in a slightly satirical light, with a bit of a laugh, bit of a smile, something to cheer us all up after a hard day's InfoSecing. This is actually something that came in as a request from one of our long-term subscribers, somebody who comments quite regularly on how he feels about sort of Razorwire in general, usually very, very positive. And the individual has said, could you kind of spend a session kind of discussing things that annoy you about the industry? We speak a lot about the positive effects of InfoSec, educational pieces of people like Jack Jones on FAIR methodologies, Jane Franklin on how to run businesses in this space and what concerns us and what it's like, as well as people like sort of Amy and Oliver and Richard Cassidy about all kinds of different things that we do. But this is definitely one of the more interesting ones. Could be a little bit controversial in places. We apologize. But at the end of the day, we're just here to have a bit of a laugh with this particular segment. So don't read into it too much, and hopefully you'll enjoy it. If you want us to do this again, feel free to get in touch with us, and we'd be more than happy to oblige. There is a lot of stuff in this industry we can all have a good laugh at ourselves over, after all. So without further ado, let's summon the professionals. So today on Grind My Gears, and what pisses us off about InfoSec and the whole InfoSec thing, I have gone out to find the professionals again, and still they elude us. And now I've had to kind of go full back on the fallback plan, which is Iain and Chris. Now, we like to point out that the views that we are going to discuss and possibly comment on are not our independent organisations, and merely here for comedy value, with a sprinkling of truth, no doubt, within. So today, yes, I'm going to say it because I know it's actually going to happen. What grinds your gears, Iain?
Working with Chris. And his inability to understand basic concepts.
And we're off. Okay. Being on the slightly more serious, but not quite so serious. Now we've gotten through the fact that Iain hates Chris, and now no doubt Chris will say he hates Iain, so we'll get through that bit. One of the biggest things that really annoys me, grandstanding egos in this game. Now, we never used to have this quite so much before the advent of social media. You get the occasional difficult person, but they were just difficult because they were usually kind of like fear, uncertainty, and doubt, and spending a lot of time telling people how horrible things were. But recently, I've come across a spat of people who kind of promote themselves as thought leaders and influencers. And you talk to some of the other real influencers, or the real big names, who shall remain nameless because I've interviewed some of them, and they are great, great people. And they constantly tell me about weird people who make out they are masters of information security and are clearly not. There's one actually on LinkedIn who shall remain very nameless, who is notorious for spreading fear, uncertainty, and doubt, and making out that, he's protecting the government and various big organizations with his wisdom, and he keeps getting caught out. But yeah, that's what really annoys me. I won't have them on the channel.
Well, if he's saying, I'm protecting the government, this is what I do, blah, blah, he's not doing a great job of it, is he?
Not really.
Let's be honest. I mean, that's coming from me. Do you know what? That's the two types of people you've got in the corporate world, isn't it? You've got show horses and work horses. And show horses like to do their hair and prance around, and then the actual shy horses at the back that actually do the work.
They're called sales reps, aren't they?
Sales reps. Oh, we're going to
Sales reps.
I can see where Ian's going to go down next. Information security sales, which is a whole minefield in itself. But vendors are another one that annoy me. And it's not because they have got bad products. Some of them have got very good products. But it's like, we've got DORA, for instance, coming up next year, and I can smell on the horizon, I can sense it. It's like an oncoming cloud, a tropical storm of marketing about how this random product will protect you against
every product will make you DORA compliant if you like it. We had it with GDPR. I just remember it. It was just everything made you GDPR compliant. You're like, no, it doesn't.
Our endpoint security product will protect this. Sorry, what?
You are now GDPR compliant. Do you have this tool? Like, that's not how it works.
I haven't really looked much into DORA, but is it essentially a cybersecurity MOT? So when you do them ticking the boxes, you can go, yeah, I'm good.
No.
And then it's gone.
No, it's actually quite. I did a podcast with Paul Dwyer. He's a lovely guy, and he's kind of big in this space, Irish fella. And we did an updated podcast this week. Actually, it depends when this goes live, but his one might be going live, or it might take a little while to come out. But it's kind of a real serious deal here. It's basically saying, in a nutshell, I mean, there's a lot of stuff behind it as well. It's not a compliance thing where you kind of like put something in and tick a box or anything like that. It's basically a lot of accountability for a board level. So if you don't do anything about security, and you just you hear sometimes from C-suites where it's like, oh, well, it's never happened before, so it'll never happen to us, kind of thing. And then, of course, it eventually does.
If you do a SolarWinds sketch, then you're getting done.
Not quite, no, because it's not really the CISO necessarily, unless they're on the C-suite, that gets in trouble. It's the directorship, the owners. You could get jail time for not doing what you should be doing. I mean, it's serious stuff.
DORA sets out the guidelines of like how the legislation, I should say, for how you've got to be able to respond and recover from a cyber attack, essentially.
Yeah.
So you've got to have all those processes in place, and think about the what if factors and have those plans in place.
I mean, it lays out a number of things, really. It's like, continuously monitor your environment, understand your risks, and react according to your risks. There's no hard and fast kind of, you must have firewalls, you must have this, you must have the other. It's kind of very open-ended, and it's like you must understand your risks and you must deal with your risks appropriately. And if you don't, you must have, or if you do have an event, as Iain says, you must respond to it, and you must respond to it appropriately. But not only that, they've added the old GDPR requirement that originally came in GDPR of you must announce to us if you've had an incident.
Yeah.
So, and it's predominantly so DORA is basically the finance industry in Europe, the European Union, and anybody adjacent to it who provides services in. So they've kind of opened it. And then you've got NIS 2, which is critical services within the same space. So again, slightly different, but when you look at them both together and the reach of it's starting to really push out. I think, as Iain said, the marketing people are going to be rubbing their pens together to come up with all kinds of cool marketing that tells you how, their GRC tool will protect you from the horrors of DORA.
You will be DORA compliant, or I can slap that on their marketing.
So yeah, Chris, you'll be required to address the physical security concerns.
That's all right, man. As long as it's the onus is on the companies and not so much.
Not you.
Yeah, not me.
Is that what you're worried about?
No, actually, I was more saying like that they're going to put some guidelines up and say you must be doing, instead of saying you must be doing X, Y, and Z, it's you must be looking at X, Y, and Z, and the onus is on the company to to make sure that they're doing what they should be doing. Yeah.
Of course, the smart people could always wait until they have an incident and then elevate you to the executive, and then, just before they announce it, and then finger you, in the metaphorical sense, as being the source of the issue. So you get the jail time, and the CEO can then sort of go off on his yacht to the Caribbean, laughing manically as he does so.
But to go back to your point about the influencers that we now have, I realise the irony of saying that when we're on a podcast and we're actually saying things like this. But
what potentially an award-winning podcast.
That too. Oh God, some of the tribe you just read, you're like, what? But what they do, and this is one of the things that is, they just put BS. Sprinkle just BS into it, so it makes it the grander. They just make it sound grander than it is. So you're just like, oh, you mean you just, put a gate up and it's fixed? Well, they'll make up some mystical, magical, and then make it seem more difficult than it is. And it really pisses me off. It's like, it doesn't need to be that hard. Stop it.
And that's the report, like you just said about the reporting. I've read all sorts of bits and bobs, and I'm reading through it and going, oh my God, it sounds like these people were attacked from all angles, from left, right, up, down, inside and out. And then, like you say, all that turns out is, oh yeah, we stopped him with this absolute piece of shit firewall that we already had, and nothing happened. But the article,
which was sold to them because it could have made them DORA compliant.
The article is ridiculous, and you think, surely you could just say, oh yeah, we got attacked and we stopped it. Thanks very much. Why do you need to go into full detail that's not relevant?
Or even better, what I like is when they argue amongst one another. Have you seen that yet? Well, they're fighting for influence, and you get the real ones, the real influencers, like, dare I say it, Jane Franklin and Paul Dwyer and some of the others that we've had, who just sit there quietly in the background, and you can feel that they're just watching it, going, "Oh God, here we go. They're off." And the other thing is, they like taking pictures of themselves at awards, even if it's not an award that they're actually getting an award at.
Paid for.
That they've paid for. I've won the Green Hills Award for Innovative Security.
That's another thing that annoys me. These awards that you've got to pay for.
I get them all. Do you want to be
Infosec Team of the Year? Yeah, sure. We'll apply for that. Yeah, give us $5,000. What? No.
and that is hilarious because I get them all the time. It's like, oh, you've been nominated for random insert Infosec award, and I'm like, oh, cool, that's lovely. And then you read
insert name.
Yeah, then you read down a little bit, and it's like, all you need to do is pay 10 grand.
They tier it, don't they? So like,
yeah. And then if you pay an extra 10 grand, you get a really nice trophy, and you get a 10-page spread in our magazine that nobody reads.
It sounds worth it, to be honest.
Well, the bad thing is the same influencers that we're talking about will go and do that, and then you see pictures of them with these kind of awards. And sometimes you'll see them at the ceremony if obviously there are other people at the ceremony, but you can tell if there's nobody at the ceremony, they've paid for the award to go into a blank room and get it.
Mm.
It's just them and maybe one or two of their team there.
I'm going to say, yeah, all the awards, the awards dinner is literally 3 tables of 4 people just having it's in a Wetherspoons pub at the back. They just shut off.
Yeah, make it look nice.
Yeah.
It's terrible. I mean, every now and then one comes along, which is genuine. And obviously, weirdly enough, the genuine ones are the ones you don't have to pay for. Or at worst, you have to pay for a plane ticket and a hotel room to go to the kind of award ceremony. You're not having to pay 20 grand for a plastic crystal-looking shard that you can stick up on your shelf in the office.
Yeah.
Or even worse, when you go to some offices and you see they've got like a glass case and they've got them all kind of put in this glass case so you can't look too close to them and see how plastic they are.
And not only that, but then you'll see it. You're like, oh, your award, awarded 2008. You're like, do you really need to keep that up? If it's not within the last 12 months, if it's not in the last 12 months, it doesn't count.
You've started seeing kind of like, and the other thing about influencers, you can tell kind of some of how the quality of some of the influencers. If you notice the names, the kind of the roles that they hold, sort of like angel investor, and you can put in sort of like what your roles are and stuff, and they've got like a massive long list, about 20 characters long, of randomly generated things that they're good at. It's like they've gone to ChatGPT and said,
I was going to say, ChatGPT.
what should I put next to my profile to make me look the greatest thing since sliced bread? It's like, I've never heard of this person. It's not that
Can you
big.
put that in ChatGPT? I'll have to give it a go, actually.
Yeah,
do
why
it,
not?
do it.
You can add it to your LinkedIn profile.
Brain
and
eater,
impress
that's what it's
people.
going to spit out for you.
Let's see what it spits out. Let's see what it spits
You're
out.
generally going to have
I am
seen
going
this
to put
slide.
it in there. What am I asking it to do?
They come up with a fancy title for what you actually do, which is naff all.
If I'm a thought leader, or if I'm an influencer and a thought leader on LinkedIn, what should I put as my kind of profile title next to my name?
For physical security. Let's see what it kicks out.
I put in, come up with a fancy title for me being an expert in info. Oh, that's a bit boring. It's literally just come up, Chief Information Security Architect. That's a bit boring. He's actually done what he's asked instead of going nuts.
Oh, maybe they just pluck it from their own minds.
I'll have a play with that offline when we're off here. I'll have a play and I'll send them in. What can we actually get out of it by giving it?
Well, a lot of it is word salad. It's absolute word salad.
It's like writing a CV, isn't it? Did you ever? I don't know. Was you ever involved in ISO numbers, whatever? And you think, I know someone that did that, so yeah, I'll add to that as if because I was there at the time.
Lying on CVs. Is that something that pisses you off then?
Exaggeration. The exaggeration of anything.
Yeah.
And I know men do that quite a lot anyway, because it's instilled into us to exaggerate. But like, just going over the top for no reason whatsoever, or going around the houses about something. I mean, obviously we're not going to name calls and names and stuff, but myself and Iain was on a call the other day, and I asked a question, and I think it must have been about a 4-minute answer, and he actually sent me a quick message saying, "You look so confused on this call," and I was like, yeah. And so my answer to I'm not going to put it out, but it was a 3-word answer. And then I was like, "Do you mean X, Y, and Z?" And she went, "Yeah." I was like, "Why the fuck have you just been carrying on for 6-7 minutes about got all the way around the houses when it was a 3-word answer? What, are you a politician?" I've
come against those people a lot, actually. People who like to overly complicate a simple statement of fact. And I've had a lot of it as a PCI auditor. You go into audit and you come up against somebody who's they dislike auditors. And to be fair, there's a lot of people who dislike auditors, but auditors are people too,
No.
No. You've got no soul. You sold it. It's become an auditor.
They're like traffic wardens.
Traffic wardens. So you're saying, what annoys you about Infosec is auditors because they're like traffic wardens.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're
never there when you need them. When you don't need them, they turn up and start dishing out tickets.
Let's go down this bunny hole, shall we?
I don't hate them. It's called. I like to refer to it as the audit dance. So the auditor interprets a control in a certain way, and you've gone, "Yeah, I've answered that. That's easy. Here's the evidence." They may not like the evidence, so then you start the audit dance of trying
to. That's what you dance for the auditor. Is that what you do to get through audits? No. You say, "Hey, would you like to foxtrot with me?"
It's smoke and mirrors.
Yeah. No, I've got to agree with that. You know what the answer the auditor wants. You give them the answer and say, "Yeah, this is," and they go, "Okay. So how do you come to that conclusion, and what controls have you got in for that?"
It's there in front of you.
Well, yeah, I've got them. Like, what does it matter how they work? I've got them. I've got them. You can see them. Just to move on. Let's. Why have we booked in 4 days for this? Could wrap this up in 20 minutes. Hurry up.
I have to say, being a major influencer in the space and a potential award-winning podcast, and a spectacular auditor for PCI DSS for the many, many years that I was at. I don't know what you're talking about. No, I must admit I've come across a few myself, and I've come across auditors before, bless them, who are just new to it, and everybody's new to something at some point. We've all been new to InfoSec and various things that we like doing, but because they kind of get the mark of auditor, it's almost like some people kind of see it as they are the police. And I sat down with one auditor, and bless them, I checked them out on LinkedIn, and they'd only been an auditor for like a week and a half before they came in to audit me for InfoSec. They couldn't understand the fair risk methodology. They didn't think it was an appropriate risk methodology.
What?
And I went through the whole thing with them and pointed out, it was created many years ago by people who, Jack Jones, who again I've interviewed on this fantastic, possibly award-winning podcast.
He'll be milking this now.
Well, it's the influencer. I hate influencers, you see, because they grandstand all the time, and it's like, maybe I should try it. Maybe I should give it a go. See if I can, get some recognition. But they just couldn't get it, and I'm like, I had to leave the conversation in the end. It's the only time I've ever walked out of a conversation. So I can't do this. And contacted the institution and said, could you please send me an auditor, who knows what they're doing? So I do understand why there are some bad experiences with auditors. But if you are a good auditor, you know what you're looking at. So if you are showing them your risk methodology, and it makes sense and it's not complete, whatever it is, then it's and people who say it's not enough, it's like, hang on a minute, it constitutes everything that requires, from a risk management perspective, but how we manage our risk. You're not here to audit whether or not, our risk management is being done where you are, appropriately, because the methodology doesn't matter as long as it works.
Yeah, exactly.
Do you undertake risk management? Yes, we do. Here's our methodology.
Yeah, we do.
Oh, fantastic. Okay.
We use a 3x3. We use a 5x5. We use the FAIR. It doesn't matter. As long as you've said, we're doing it, and we, as a business, have accepted that's our threshold. And then it goes an opinion piece, that's another point that winds me up sometimes.
Well, see, this is it. It doesn't matter which methodology you use, as long as it's a clear methodology. Obviously, if you put a risk log and ledger in front of me, drawn in bricking crayon, with I am a fish in the corner, then I might have a few problems as an auditor.
But why? Because it's still documented.
Why? Because you would have eaten the crayons, so there would be no risk. Nothing written down.
As long as the risk is, as long as it's documented, and it's documented in the right sequence, it doesn't matter whether it's through the most expensive software you can get or pen and paper, crayon.
TLAs. There's too many of them. 3-letter acronyms, and they change constantly.
Yeah.
What have we got now? We've got EDR, NDR, which is managed detection and response.
XDR.
Endpoint. XDR. About 2 years ago, they were called something else. Like, MDR was MSSP, wasn't it? It was a managed service provider or something along those lines, where you got managed detection and response. They're just changing them on a whim. I swear, they just...
You know what that is?
What?
Marketing. It's marketing that do that.
That's always marketing.
It's like,
but is there any need for them in the first place? Can we not just say what they are?
Oh, well, yeah, it's just network detection. God, everyone knows what it does. Intrusion detection, done. Stick with that. What's wrong with that? It's just trying to prove that your product's shiny and new than the other thing. The concept's the same. Yeah, you've got new technology behind it. Just keep the concept naming.
We're going to turn this what grinds my gears into Infosec Room 101. What do you want to put in Room 101? And acronyms
not a bad
definitely
idea.
up there.
Yeah, acronyms is going in a bit.
It is out of hand. I mean, it used to be reasonably manageable 10 years ago, but now it's just terrible. Every vendor has a new set of acronyms, and I've sat in meetings with vendors before, and they're sort of showing off their product, and you're sitting there going, okay, this is a scene then. And they thought, but it's not just a scene. It's a scene plus XD plus DB plus BCC
Plus
ITV.
ABC, yeah.
I get it if you stick it into a contract, and you've got a 40-page contract, so you're right, and then you're going to be repeating the product over and over again. So you mention it, you put the acronym, that's what it. That throughout the rest of the paper contract, that's what you refer to. But if you're actually speaking or doing a little presentation, you don't need to be doing that all the time. Just tell me what you're talking about.
It means you can use less words, though, and if you don't understand the acronym, you can't be that good an infosec professional.
Oh yeah, yeah. If you can't keep up with the changing acronyms that change every 2 weeks,
I guarantee part of any meeting that's got over 10 people, right, and then someone whacks out an acronym, there's at least 25%, 30% of them people going, I have no idea what that means.
Oh, I think it's higher. I reckon it's higher than that.
I was being nice. I mean, if I'm in that meeting, there's definitely one person who goes, not got a clue what you're talking about.
I thought this was the gents.
But this is part of the problem. There's nobody other than you and that cardigan that would pipe up and turn around and say, I don't know what that is. Most infosec people just sit there quietly and go, oh, yeah. And they're all Googling it or GTPing it.
I generally think some meetings I'm invited to, and I'm like, I'm literally there just for the person to go, I ain't got to stop. Jim, what in the fuck are you talking about? Can you just plain English, please? And then there's like 4 other people go, oh, thank God for that. He's thank fuck someone's asked that.
You have been audited by me then.
Yeah, we've got too many TLAs. It's driving me up the wall now. Like DORA, that's another example. GDPR, you got all the legislation are getting into like acronyms now. You're just like, oh Christ's sake.
I even remember what DORA, digital
operational resiliency, resilience or resiliency.
Is it not just
I should know that.
A 7-year-old girl going on with a backpack and just going around the country?
Dora the Explorer.
That's Dora,
Dora
yeah.
Explorer. She's actually an auditor. She's coming around to have a look at it.
Dora the auditor. That's brilliant. She's all grown up now. She's got a job in Infosec.
She's trying to break into your data center somewhere with a backpack. She's got like a length of chain, a small ladder. So go on then, Chris. We've laughed at you for a little while. Come on, what annoys you? You've obviously acronyms.
I think acronym. You know what? And again, acronym. I think I've mentioned it before. Just people spouting shite. It's like, just get to the point. Thanks very much.
Yeah,
you don't need to sound big and clever about it. Just because your big words don't make you clever.
Especially in meetings.
Especially when you can see your audience and everyone's like, what the fuck is going on here?
Which leads me into another thing that grinds my gears. Bad presentations. Have you ever been sat in an auditorium and you have to sit through the presentation and they're reading off the PowerPoint slide that's in front of them and behind them? And it's so robotically done. See, when I went and spoke at, I think it was UK Cyber Week, we've got this lovely presentation. My wonderful marketing manager has spent hours creating this beautiful presentation. Sent it over to the organisers, and they have like their IT people who are very good, but they obviously have very cheap and very underpowered laptops because they tried to run the presentation and this thing would just die. So we tried it a few times on different laptops. And eventually we found one that worked. They hooked it all up and I stood up in front of everybody, look at the pictures of myself and realised that I've expanded a little bit further than I would like. And I started my presentation and I got to slide 5 and clicked the little clicker. All was going well. Nothing. Not a thing. This thing died straight away. And it was only because I'm used to coming on the podcast and talking that I thought, oh, crap. In my head, I'm thinking, crap, the slides are buggered. I can't use the slides. So I'm just going to have to talk for the next sort of like 20 odd minutes. And I did, and we managed to get through it. But, that's a side quest there. But I've been at places where, you get these presentations and they're terrible. Everybody knows they're terrible as well.
Yeah.
And then they come off and you can tell that they know they're terrible. And it's just
they're just mundane and
it's embarrassing.
And they don't, I think it's like, if you don't capture your audience you've got to literally slide 2. If you don't capture that audience and slide 2, it's all over. No one's going to pay attention. No one cares.
I'm on my phone, answering emails.
Done. When I was in the Marines, we used to, if we go away on ship for instance, if you're traveling a lot, and we used to honestly go, you'd pass a time with everyone would get a random subject, and it'd be like, right, okay, everyone's got to do a 25-30-minute presentation on something. And the ones I've had over the years was the toilet, tea bags, Kama Sutra, and there's no internet to research this, so you literally just got to either make it up and make it sound like you know what you're talking about, which is great, but you've got to capture your audience straight away.
Is this how our Marines spend their time when they're not?
Yeah, pretty much.
Making up presentations on the merits of the toilet.
Yeah, but I think it was more for to practice. A bit like the Karate Kid scenario, paint the fence
wax on,
to
wax
practice.
Off.
Yeah, wax on, wax off, and it was to show that you could overcome any obstacles and quick battle orders, think on your feet, and that sort of skills.
And do bad presentations to the enemy to make them bored to death.
Yeah, all that. Yeah. Get your troops motivated.
Is it a new psychological warfare that the Marines do? So I just want to talk to you about the merits of brickwork. Oh, lovely.
That's what we have the RAF for. We just send them some RAF leaflets, and then that's it.
The one thing that really annoys me sometimes is when they've just got the entire slide deck is just what they're saying. It's just a wall of text. And it's just like, I'll just read the slides rather than listen to you.
I just one acronym.
Yeah.
AXTB-V. All right, okay. Well, is that what we're talking about? Fantastic. It is pretty bad. I mean, it has gotten better over the years, but I think, that's the good part of marketing. They've created wonderful slide shows, and in my case, a slideshow that didn't work on the laptop that it was running on.
What did you have in that slide deck?
Oh, it had moving pictures. It had kind of like the bits that came out. I mean, it was good. I'll send it to you. I'll send it to you at some point afterwards. Since you didn't bother to turn up and watch me talk or anything, big influencer and award-winning podcaster that I am.
I can't believe you did go there as well.
I couldn't make it anyway. I knew that. You said you was going.
Did you lie?
I forgot.
Yeah, he said. I can't make it.
I said I'd try and make it, and then I realised on the day.
You know what really grinds my gears?
Is Iain.
Infosec people who don't represent. They don't turn up when they say they're going to turn up.
Yeah,
and when they do turn up, that's bad news.
I said I'd try.
I said, Jim, I'm really sorry, I can't make that. This was like 3 months ago, wasn't it? I said, Jim, I'm really sorry, I can't make that.
I really don't remember this.
And then Iain went, I can go. And I was like, brilliant, Iain. You can represent us as a couple. You go. As a couple,
wow.
You go. And
there you go. There's a revelation there. The professionals are obviously more than professionals.
That's a honking thought. Honking means disgusting.
You'd be lucky to have me.
Oh.
There's so many things I could say, but none of them are PC and none of them are fit for podcasting.
We would get banned off YouTube.
We nearly did once because we talked about GDPR.
Why?
What?
Well, there's certain topics that this wonderful medium really don't like. We had an episode. I did an episode on GRC tools. GRC tools. The good acronym GRC. Governance, risk and compliance tools.
Another TLA, yeah.
And for some reason, I mean, we're not monetized anyway. We're nowhere near that big, but they flagged it up. They were like, "Oh, we don't like this." It's like, right, okay, well, why don't you like this? Oh, we can't tell you that. What do you mean you can't tell them?
There you go. There's another thing. What's the fucking pointless. Just get to the point.
Well, me get to the point or you two?
Triggering Chris now.
No, not you. I mean, you're disciplinary for, what did I do wrong, officer? Oh, I can't tell you that. Well, I won't do it again then. No, you don't. When you do it again, we'll tell you. Will you tell me what I've done? No. Right. Idiots.
I've had that with some organisations over the years. Especially ones who are in a certain part of the world where it's large and they like to bring on board, property people to take control of their country for periods of time. I once had to fill out the cross-border, a couple of times now, the kind of cross-border kind of tax stuff. So when you deal with American companies, sometimes they send you this massive raft of IRS forms. My God, I don't know how people in the States, I'm just going to talk about States now. I don't know how the people in the States deal with their bureaucracy of government. But they're talking about the agreements between the UK and the US, but they call it a chapter something or other. It's really weird. And you have to know what you're talking about. So I went straight to Google and Reddit, of all places, that told me how to fill out this form. But there was one question I had, and I called up the lady that sent it over, and I was like, just not sure how to answer this, because obviously we're UK based, blah, blah. And she was like, I can't advise you on tax measures. I said, I'm not asking for tax advice. I'm asking how to fill out this form, because it's not a normal form I would fill out. I can't help you there. Well, what do you mean you can't? Just you want to deal with us, and we want to deal with you, and we've had a nice conversation several times. I just want to clarify what this part of the form is. Oh, you should know. How would I know what an American form?
Yeah, and what if you don't know? How do I get taught then if no one's willing to tell? I don't understand.
ChatGPT.
Yeah.
But I suppose the thing that grinds me out is overcomplication. And I've met individuals who, as we talked about earlier on, who overcomplicate things, and you can tell when they get flustered, because when they get called out, they're trying to kind of justify why they've presented this set of results, and they can't actually prove any of it, and they get flustered, more flustered, and start kind of going in circles.
I love watching people do that. I love watching the politicians do that.
Well, it's not just politicians though. It's like you do get them in the Infosec world.
Your lobbyists.
Oh yeah. God, yeah, lobbyists.
Yeah, I think it's absolutely brilliant. They've got a line that they need to say, or a headline of a certain topic, and then that's it. That they're in there then, and then when they go, "Can you expand on that?" They're like, "No, I was just told to say this line. I have no idea what I'm talking about."
So you have watched parliamentary and Congress hearings. I like the congressional hearings because you get like people in Congress who obviously know nothing about IT whatsoever, asking the most random questions with no knowledge, but they say it so kind of confidently. And I was watching one with Mark Zuckerberg, and it was just like, what are you talking about?
I've been fully invested in the post the Royal Mail hearings this week, and
the Postmaster scandal.
Oh, the Postmaster scandal is absolutely amazing. Just the old CEO was on there this week. She was getting absolutely battered because she. Did you know about X, Y, and Z? No. And then they just go, oh, well, here's an email from 2008 that says you do.
I don't recall.
Yeah, they're like, oh, I don't remember that. But in your statement, only 9 months ago, you referenced to it. Did I?
I don't recall. It's the go-to classic.
Can I have some water, please?
That's standard instant response when you're investigating, isn't it? You've got the person in the room. And they're like, you know what they've done, and they know what they've done, and you've got proof, but they don't know what proof you have. So they don't want to admit to anything, but they don't. They know they're in a certain amount of trouble. I've as Iain's well aware, I've been in that situation 2 or 3 times now. And I take great pleasure in destroying those types of people. It's like it harkens me back to a line in Futurama that the best form of correct is being technically correct. As long as you're technically correct, you can't be beaten. So and I've been an auditor for many years, and I've been put on. I've been sort of put into meetings where I've had to present my assertions and why I support them, and I've always done that relatively okay. I've never had a problem with it, and that's just what you get used to as an auditor. But there's a lot of people out there who just can't back up what they're saying, and it gives InfoSec a bad name as well, because we've always had this kind of reputation for being fear, uncertainty, and doubt. You go in and they're like, oh God, here comes the man in the suit, or the person in the suit nowadays, to kind of read the riot act. They've been running their project for the past 8 months, and they've been hiding from the InfoSec professional all that time, knowing that at some point they're going to have to get sign off. And you're viewed as a difficult person to deal with, not because you may be difficult, but because you're an InfoSec professional. And people like that give us a really bad name, and there's still a few of them out there. Do come across them from time to time. Most people are pretty good these days. Most InfoSec professionals are pretty good. And funnily enough, it's the same ones who always go bang on about how influential they are, and they've got their own website with about me and all my wonderful things that I've done. And you kind of look through their track history and you're like, actually, there's not much here. There's a lot of words and there's a lot of things, but you don't really know what you're talking about. And
that's like Iain's CV.
Yeah, very much. Yeah,
I've seen Iain's CV. It's very good. You got part of his training was in a really professional organisation that loved and nurtured him for many, many years. And made him a fantastic consultant. I don't know.
I don't know. No idea.
You know what also annoys me? No credit. No one ever gives me any credit for anything, damn it.
Somebody's out the car. Who's not giving you any credit? What's up, Chin? What's up?
I don't feel loved.
He didn't even turn up to your speech, so
he didn't. See, that's a good point right there. No integrity. There's no integrity.
I tell you what, I'll try to turn up to the next one. How's that?
Well, you try. You said you would the last one, and now you're saying you're going to try. So at least you've moved along.
Right.
See, now that we're getting to the truth of the matter, it's no longer do you need to lie now, Iain. You just need to tell me the truth. See, the truth will set you free in information security.
I'm moving along quickly before I get hounded more. One thing that does annoy me is like we're obviously InfoSec professors. We're seen as the rule setters, like you can and can't do and stuff like that. Instead, when you see InfoSec professionals then circumnavigate their own rules they put in place just to make their life easier. You see it all the time. You're just like, what are you doing? You've got to play the fiddle the way that you said it to.
Yeah, like how do we swindle our way around these rules that these idiots have put in place?
Well, it's not that. It's our own professionals doing it. They've put the rules in and they've gone, well, that's hard work, isn't it? Right.
Rules for thee. Rules for thee and rules for me.
Yeah, I know. See it quite often. And you're just like, oh, come on, no.
Again, I have seen this loads of times. My favourite one is when they say, oh, the only type of machine that can connect to a corporate network, our policy is a corporate-owned device. And then you see them break out like a Linux machine, which isn't one of their corporate devices. And they plug it in, and you're like, all right, so only corporate devices, hey? Oh, well, this is my penetration testing platform that I use to kind of test the environment. All right, okay. How long have you been pen testing
Link to
for?
the NDM or anything like that, just in case I lose it. Oh, no remote Wi-Fi capability.
I don't. I mean, circumventing security countermeasures is a big one for me. A certain place I worked many years ago that will remain very nameless. We got these early day network monitoring tools that would listen out for different types of comms running through the network. And that was when Napster was a big favourite, sort of.
Yes.
And it could detect, connections of that nature and information. So, I turned it on, and I found a number of people who were sharing movies in a place that you shouldn't be sharing movies. And I went up to one of them, and I confronted him, got him in a room, and said, "Right, unfortunately, we've detected that you've been doing this. I need to do an investigation in your laptop." So I did the investigation into his laptop, and I found a load of movies that he was actively sharing on this file sharing product. I said, first of all, you've misused your administrative privilege. Not that I knew that you had it at the time to install this, but also you're using it to share pirated material on a corporate network. Are you an idiot? And he's like, well, what's the problem with it? I said, that film there, and pointed to one of the films. I said, that only came out 2 weeks ago in the cinema. And you've got a file of it on your laptop. It's not even out on DVD, because that's when DVDs were big. And yeah, he just couldn't believe I was writing him up. So, dude, seriously. And he was in IT as well. He wasn't some average Joe. Yeah. He was actually in the IT department, quite well placed. Just totally beyond him. Oh yeah, security, don't need that.
Your average user, will go out their way to circumnavigate the controls that you've put in place it made life it was a bit hard to go through the process, which you've made simple as possible. Yeah. So it's streamlined and everything. So they'll just still email stuff out to their own their own Gmail account so they can print it at home. It's like, no.
Oh, yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Or they use Dropbox. They've got this really insanely secure environment. And they're like, oh, yeah, I'll get you the information over via Dropbox.
That's all for us.
It's like, we could create you encrypted drives for you to be able to, push stuff over to us. Or you could share an encrypted drive and you're still using Dropbox to send me critical corporate information. I'll just put that in a report somewhere then. There's a lot of things that annoy us in this world, influencers, acronyms, marketing, vendor marketing specifically. Not marketing people. I love marketing people. I do love marketing people. Some of my best friends are marketing people. So I've got to be careful.
It depends how they market stuff.
Well,
again, I'm one of them people. Just tell me what you want.
But they're not going to. They want you to buy it. They want to make it pretty.
Yeah, I know that. So yeah, all right, slightly away from Infosec, but look at some of the adverts that are on the TV now. Right, how many of them? I know that but I would literally. There's a few adverts out there that someone said, "Oh, this is the best deal you're ever going to get in your life." I go, "What advert's that from?" No, I'm not buying it because the advert pisses me off that much. Is it 3? The mobile phone people.
Yeah.
And you've got that woman that goes,
Oh, I know what you mean.
Like, oh my God, just say, "Oh, we've got this best network. It's really good. Thanks very much. Come and have a try." I go, you know what? I'll give that a go. But now, just because of that advert, no, I'm out.
Oh no, you get some great adverts.
No.
Like the Guinness adverts. Look at the old Guinness adverts. They were awesome. You knew it was Guinness from the moment it started because it was art. There was that one where there's a field and it pulls out from a scarecrow to a field and to a blah blah, and it keeps going and it keeps going. And then it's the eye of the bleeding scarecrow in the field that you've just seen, and it keeps pulling out, and it's the Guinness. Oh, that was brilliant. That's marketing.
You've add some backstory to that, isn't it?
We need to inject some fun into Infosec. We don't have marketing like that. It's all kind of like plot, plots on a chart and round things. We need something more exciting. Maybe I'd speak to my marketing person about, changing the way we market. We could dance, do interpretive dance.
And people might turn up for your talks.
Absolutely. People who promised that they would turn up and didn't.
Yeah.
It sounds like I dodged the bullet though. Your slide that didn't work.
Yeah, slide that didn't work. I just rambled on for 25 minutes.
Wow. You wait, mate. When I get invited to some big hokey kind of like talk on, something of importance, which I can't think of at this moment in time. And it's invite only. I'll invite you up there, but I won't get you in, and you can stand outside and stare through the window like a child wanting to get
I'm on the list.
Have you written your acceptance speech yet for the podcast awards?
No, I haven't. I'm still waiting.
How much did you pay for this one?
We didn't pay anything. This was free. Because we got nominated for another one a little while back, but sadly the judges obviously went mad one day and didn't pick us.
Outrageous. With content like this,
I think they picked the IBM podcast. I was like, well, what have IBM got that I haven't in a podcasting?
I know you're supposed to compete with that's ridiculous. That
exactly. I've got the professionals. What have they got? They've got 3 guys in a sweatshirt. Well, we'll see. Apparently, I mean, by the time this video goes out, it's probably already been nominated. But apparently, I've been invited to the awards after the Infosec convention on the second day.
Ooh.
So I should be heading off there.
Nice.
I'm not going to wear a suit. I'm going to wear what I'm wearing now: t-shirt and a pair of combats.
I think I'll be scared if you ever turn up in a suit.
On that note, everyone.
Absolutely, our time is up, and what grinds my gears may return. If you like that content, then please let us know. If you'd like to see us lambast Chris or Iain, even more so for various different horrors that they've caused over the years, or if you just want me to pick an interesting target and set them off against one another, like the whole privacy and trust conversation, which apparently is gaining quite a lot of momentum and a lot of views on Spotify and Podcast Addict. It's one of the most watched, actually. If you want us to do more content like this and have a bit of a laugh at our own expense in the InfoSec world, I think we need it, because let's face it, we're all a bit serious at times. Sometimes you just need to take the piss. But to my fellow professionals, it's been fantastic talking to you again. No doubt we'll figure out some other random thing to start talking about next time, unless I get an interesting DM like I did this time for this one. So, cheers, guys, and look after yourselves out there. And thank you for listening or even watching the latest edition of Razor Wire. It's always good to get feedback. Please feel free to reach out to us. You can reach out to us via LinkedIn or through our website, www.razorthorn.com. If you feel that there's something that we should cover maybe a little bit more in depth, a new topic, or something of interest to you or the community at large, we'll even do interviews. If you've got any recommendations or you want us to interview people, we'll reach out to those individuals and see if we can get them on camera so we can ask them the important questions about InfoSec. So it'd be great to see what your feedback is. In addition, I do have a book recently come out, the Cyber Sentinels Handbook, a primer for information security professionals. Now, this book is very much geared up towards professionals at all levels of their career, be they starters, be they newcomers, be they people who've been in it for a little while and maybe looking for a little bit more direction, albeit the older ones looking to maybe reground themselves in some of the more important aspects of the trade that maybe they've forgotten over time. I've had lots of good feedback from a lot of different readers of a lot of different levels, so please feel free to get yourselves a copy. We've got the e-copy, we've also got the paperback copy, and if you don't want to spend any money, you can go on Kindle Unlimited and read the book for free there as well. So thank you ever so much again. Look after yourselves, and we'll be seeing you again soon.